if you're anything like me, then you'll appreciate when next generation hardware is finally released for regular Joes like you and I. What's even better is when you can afford it. Today's product in question takes inspiration from enthusiast-grade laptops without enthusiast-grade prices. Feast your eyes on the 15.6-inch variant of the Gigabyte Aorus 5 gaming laptop featuring Intel's 9th generation mobile i7 CPU. Feast your eyes! Oh boy! Alright friends, I hope you're ready for another dive into laptops. I'm excited. You're excited. Noelle, are you excited? Yeah. Today, let's take a look at what our friends from Gigabyte bring to the table. Can I get a drum roll, please? Introducing the Aorus 5. Here's what you need to know before diving in. First off, no running at the pool, you might get injured. Next, the Aorus 5 is aimed at mobile gamers thanks to the dedicated GTX 1650 GPU. Multitasking power uses utilizing 16 gigs of dual channel RAM, and it can easily be considered as a desktop replacement with its blazing fast 256 GB M.2 PCIe based SSD and 1 TB for your larger storage files. Now, looking at this freshly minted laptop, we always want to know how much does this lad weigh in? Is it an absolute unit? Does it come in ultra light? Or is it thick with the cube? Or can you slap this for a gym sesh? Well, here the answer is 4.73 pounds in weight. So you can get some blood pumping with this. The weight is ideal for backpacks and, well, brisk walks. So if you want to walk your laptop, no problems. Just use 2 hands, please. It is with a heavy heart that we bid farewell to the 8th generation i7. And welcome! And come on down here. Get down here, little guy. The newcomer in town. Greetings to the 9th generation Intel i7 9750H. Sprinting away at 2.6 gigahertz and all 6 cores and 12 threads with a single core boost of 4.5 gigahertz, resulting in an average of 7 to 11% performance difference. Who's writing? Where's no Slurpee joke? It's hot in here. Well, the improvement is over the 8th generation by 11 to 7%. I said that backwards, but you guys get it because technology. So if you're looking for a blazing fast laptop, then do yourself a favor and keep watching as we break down the Aorus 5 1/4 mile at a time to figure out exactly how fast and furious this thing is. All right, it's time to channel our inner carnivore and get into the meat of things. Firstly, advise do not eat a laptop unless you are a Decepticon and or Autobot, because I assume this would be like a steak. All right, diving into it. The Aorus 5 has a few outstanding features, many which are hidden under the hood. First, let's start with the outer shell. We're graced, that's right, you guys are being graced with rigid plastic across the exterior and durable, thick with the Q rubber feet at the base. As for the left panel inputs and outputs, we've got a Gigabit Ethernet port, USB 3 running at 5 gigas per second, audio combo jack, which will accept your stereo headset and microphone, assuming it uses a combo jack connector, an SD card reader, and lastly, the right side panel features a bit more power housing, a power connector input, an HDMI port, another USB 3 port, and a USB 3 Type-C port, operating at 10 gigabits per second. Please note, this is not Thunderbolt 3 compatible, so all those external GPUs cannot be used with this. One unique feature Gigabyte included on the right panel is the USB 3 port, and its ability to function as a battery pack. For example, if you're traveling and you shut down your laptop, you still have the ability to use a specific USB port to charge your certain devices, such as your smartphone, tablet, or even Nintendo Switch. Cool feature, Gigabyte, and yes, it does use the Aorus 5's laptop battery, but it's a nice feature to have for convenience or emergencies. Moving over the bottom case assembly, we have optimally designed mesh ventilation. You can appreciate the dual fan configuration providing immediate cooling to the triple heat pipe design. Everything here is set up to simultaneously cool the CPU and GPU by pushing hot air immediately through the 5-inch exhaust vents located beside the display hinges. Underneath the motherboard is a metal baseplate designed to reinforce the rigidity of the motherboard and reduce flex during transportation. During our testing, we couldn't even get the motherboard to flex. All this considered is seriously impressive as it will result in a more durable product with increased longevity. The design for the hinge, which supports the display, is more rugged than your average lumberjack. And these. Kidding. They're flimsy. It's also completely made out of metal and provides zero flex or loose parts. As a hinge design, It does exactly what it's designed to do. We expect exceptional long-term durability with this hinge and display. Gigabyte decided to give us a bit of everything when it comes to internal components. First, we can see an Intel 770p M.2 SSD with 256 gigabytes of storage. It resulted in an impressive 3030 megabyte per second read speed and a 1240 per second write. In real-world use, we managed to do some boot-up tests and got some of the best results we've seen to date. Largely thanks to the SSD, we were able to cold boot our laptop in just 11.07 seconds, which brought us all the way to our Windows 10 desktop. From here, we restarted our laptop again and managed to warm boot into the Windows 10 desktop, but this time, 15.56 seconds. Next, we take a peek at the traditional hard drive storing 1 terabyte of all your large file needs. We sped tested the life out of this thing, and I mean the life out of this thing. We were able to achieve 179.1 megabyte per second read speeds and 173 per second write speeds. Speaking of storage, ever heard of short-term storage? Haha! Well, this laptop's got dual freaking channel RAM, also known as temporary or short-term storage. We've got 2 DIMMs of 8 gigabytes each, totaling 16 gigs of RAM running at 2666 megahertz. More people need to learn about the benefits of dual versus single channel RAM because the results are absolutely shocking. Should you feel curious enough to challenge your laptop's single channel RAM configuration, check it out right there. This RAM has 2 slots for RAM and can be upgraded to a maximum of 32 gigs. But keep in mind, both slots are currently used, so you have to replace the included RAM completely. The hard drive and M.2 slots are fully accounted for as well. So upgrades, much like the RAM, will result in removing the stock SSD and hard drive. Let's go over the bottom cover assembly. After removing a few screws, it appears to be an easy process, however, until you try prying off the back cover. Normally, it's not too difficult to do on most laptops. However, if you don't have the proper spudger? Who names these things? Or Jimmy tools, like Jimmy Barnes? Alright, then you'll have some challenges. Our technician required extra care to safely remove the back cover. So when it comes to the ease of access, we would recommend not doing this by yourself unless you're highly experienced. Alternatively, you can bring it on down to us and our trained technicians can safely install and stress test the RAM for you. Simply visit any of our Memory Express locations across Canada and they can provide you with a quick quote. Enough with the back cover, put it back on, I want it on my site. Let's move on to the keyboard and trackpad and display. Alright, comparing keyboards is not an easy feat. It's near impossible to define since it's super subjective. Everyone has their own favorites, and they all come in shapes, sizes, switches, RGB, and colored goodness. It does have zone-based fully customizable RGB backlit keys with 5 lighting modes: breathing, heartbeat, blinking, full on, and random! You can control all of these features and more with included Aorus Control Center software. The trackpad is flush and designed and features Windows Precision designation. This means it can handle multi-touch actions, an overall use with higher accuracy than trackpads without Precision designation. During my use, it received above average quick and snappy performance with no phantom clicks. That's right guys, Darth Maul's not on your keyboard, haha! Phantom Menace, not here. That was a horrible joke and I hate myself. Anyways, the size of the trackpad is slightly above average, but did not pose any concerns during daily use. On a quick side note, we have dual 3-watt speakers located below the chin. That's right guys, the chin of the display. Nothing too crazy going on here other than a chin on a laptop. Wild. Laptops have chin, everyone. The location of the speakers allow the design of the laptop to be smaller overall and less wide than the average laptop in this category. So adding chins to laptops make them thinner. Today I learned our 50.6 gaming display touts. That's right guys, it touts a solid 144Hz refresh rate, an IPS panel manufactured by Life's Good, aka LG, and a matte finish anti-glare display. Side bezels are super slim, so no thick with the Q, with the top bezel being small, yet big enough to make space for the 720p webcam and dual microphone configuration. Speaking of real-world use, let's talk about the performance. That's right, the performance. Put this thing on a stage and let's see the performance. Haha! Starting with battery life performance. Here is our methodology and how we do things here. Step 1. 100% screen brightness to replicate a worst case scenario in mobile use. That's right, 100% because we're lunatics. 0% keyboard backlight because we'd hope you can type properly without it. And 50% volume with headphones since we don't want to encourage hearing damage. That's right guys, protect your ears, you only have ears once. Once the battery drained from 100 to 50%, we auto-enabled battery saving mode. To drain our laptop battery, we did something we all do, binge watch Netflix. To elevate our mood, there's nothing better than a little bit of precinct humor. We called upon our Jake Peralta, that's right, our boy, and he invited us into his home, the 9-9. Brooklyn 9-9, that is. We started at Season 1, Episode 1, and ended up in the last quarter, Episode 8. Total battery life was 3 hours and 51 minutes. Just before Detective Peralta found it, dead, on the crime scene. In our previous video on the Asus TUF FX505 laptop, we discovered, like the good detectives that we are, that the integrated graphics handled all the video streaming. Similarly, the integrated Intel UHD 630 graphics in the Aorus 5 did all the heavy lifting when binge watching Brooklyn 9-9. This is great to know because it helps keep the battery life going, even though there's a much more powerful dedicated GPU waiting for some intensive workloads and gaming. At some point in your life with this laptop, you'll want to recharge your laptop battery, so thankfully, it required only 1 hour and 34 minutes to charge from 0 to 100% battery life. Now that our laptop's fully recharged and ready to go, it's time for our next final topic, gaming performance, starting with PUBG. At ultra settings, we did 3 playthroughs, average frame rates resulting in 81.4 frames per second. We turned it down to medium settings and we saw an improvement to 103.7 frames per second. Notice that scaling? Then lastly, at low settings, we managed to get 118 frames per second. Not bad with PUBG. Next, we tried out Overwatch. The version of ultra settings is titled Epic. So with that said, we achieved an average of 82.4 frames per second. Going down to high settings, we obtained an average of 140.5 frames per second. And lastly, we managed to get 182.6 FPS. It's just nice to know we can get that close to the frame rates required to appreciate the lovely 144Hz refresh rate included in this display. Lastly, we booted up Apex Legends. This was the most taxing title of the 3. At ultra settings, we saw 64.6 frames per second. After pushing through to medium settings, we saw 86.4 frames per second. And lastly, at low, we maintained 94.2 frames per second. Now that we've covered everything, it's time to ask ourselves the burning question. Who is this laptop really for? At $1899 Canadian, I'll admit, this is by no means an entry-level laptop. This particular model and spec is mostly for the serious student, so if you're not serious, and may occasionally fire up some games. Dedicated mobile gamers who don't desire an aggressive gaming aesthetic, and lastly, general users who are considering replacing their very stationary desktop with a versatile laptop. So if you fall into one of those categories, then consider this laptop, because honestly, it ticks off all the right specs. So, friends, that's it for today. You all know the drill. It's like a fire department drill, you guys get it. Don't forget to hit that sub button and slap that bell icon so you never miss a video. Please, slap that bell. Follow us on social media, Facebook and Twitter, the same, you guys know that. Instagram is the only weird one here. It's official Memory Express, so you guys know it's actually us. Of course, don't forget about MEXP, where we have some fantastic prizes from our friends at Cooler Master this month. That's right, guys, so it's the Hyper 212 Black Edition and the V650 Power Supply by Cooler Master. All right, that's it for me, guys. I can't read anymore, so I'm out. Goodbye. So, if you're looking for a blazing fast laptop, then do yourself a favor and keep watching. Please, we need the view time as we break down the...